My name is Sue Stoneman, and I'm here to talk about my daddy, John Kenneth Stoneman, who also went by the name of Kenneth, as he was known to my mother and all of his siblings. He was known as J.K. to all of the people that he worked with at Rothschild's, and to everyone who watched Foreman Scotty and 3D Danny on WKY-TV. He was known simply as Stony.
You ever see a machine like this?
No.
This works with a time continuum. I can tune people in over long periods of time. We're in the year 3000. Now watch. Come in, Mr. Stoneman, in the year 1956. Come in, Mr. Stoneman.
There is a legend among shoe tanners that one of the reasons that the rump area of the hide of the horse differs in substance, texture, and density than the rest of the hide is because horses for centuries have always stood with their rears exposed to the elements: snow, sleet, rain, and wind. The makers of coal Haan shoes use this leather with its distinctive tannage. They hand burnish it to a very deep glow, and they call it burnt ivory. It requires no polish, just an occasional cleaning with saddle soap, and it improves with age. They use this for casual footwear, like this hand-sewn Norwegian slip-on, or this hand-sewn half-chucker. And by their rugged outdoor appearance, just one look and you'll know they are coal Haan from Rothschild's Varsity Shop, downtown, uptown, Penn Square.
There he is.
Well, I sure do like him. What planet is he from?
Oh, Mr. Stoneman, everybody likes Stony. He's from Earth.
My first memories of WKY-TV would have been in the early 50s, and I remember going to the Gizmo Goodkin show. And the station at that time was in downtown Oklahoma City. I don't remember where exactly, but I know it was in downtown Oklahoma City, and my daddy took me there. The next memory that I have of WKY-TV would have been a little bit later than that, when they had moved out to the location on Britton Road. And at that time, Danny Williams had what was called the Danny Williams Show, where he interviewed people who had come to Oklahoma during the land run in 1889. And one of my best friends in grade school, her grandmother was going to be on the show, and she, Susan, was very shy, and she didn't want to go and be on the show by herself. And so she took me with her. And I do remember being out there and seeing Danny Williams, but I don't remember anything about what was said on the show. My daddy, Stony, started in, I think, about 1953, advertising on the 3D Danny show at WKY-TV. And he did live commercials, and he wrote all of his own commercials. He liked to write. He used to write skits for the Rothschilds' Christmas parties. He wrote skits for parties at church, and I also remember that he wrote a skit at one time for the PTA at Putnam Heights Elementary School. Most of the commercials that Daddy did for 3D Danny were about children's shoes, and in particular Edward shoes, which were corrective shoes. Most of his commercials were actually kind of teaching commercials, where he was trying to teach the audience something so they would know something more about the shoes. My sister was lucky enough to get to go out to 3D Danny show and be on one of the commercials. She was a foot model, and I remember being jealous of her that she got to go out there and do that, but I was actually too old by then to be a foot model. When Daddy was on TV on the 3D Danny and the Foreman Scotty show, 3D Danny and Foreman Scotty always tried to work him into the show. They would give some kind of an introduction before he began his commercial, and then they would talk about him again after the commercials were over. When the 3D Danny show ended in 1956, Daddy went on to the Foreman Scotty show and did commercials on that show from about 1956 until 1971. And he advertised other brands and types of shoes. And a lot of times he would try to bring what I guess you could call pop culture into his commercials. And I remember that he had one commercial that was built around the song, the Bill Haley song, "See You Later, Alligator." And then he also had another commercial that was built around the song, "The Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini." I don't know if Daddy ever brought his fluoroscope machine out to WKY to do a commercial, but I'm sure that he talked about it when he did some of the commercials. And I know that there are many kids that watched 3D Danny and the Foreman Scotty show that came down to Rothschild's and bought shoes and put their feet in the fluoroscope machine, which was kind of like an X-ray machine. And that machine kind of fell out of favor in the early 70s and it was done away with. But anyway, that was one of the fun things about buying your shoes, was getting to look at your feet inside the shoes. At some point during the time that Daddy was advertising on WKY-TV, they went to videotape commercials. And at that time, Daddy started doing commercials for adult shoes, men's shoes that were carried in the varsity shops at the Rothschild stores. And he did a number of commercials for Haan shoes, which were later picked up by Haan Company itself, and I know that some of the commercials were shown on the Tonight Show. And I also know that Daddy and Foreman Scotty and Bob Jenny were great friends, and I remember at one time they made a trip to Louisiana for what I thought was an alligator hunt, which kind of scared me, but I think that's where they got some of the footage for some of the Haan commercials. Daddy loved all the years that he spent at WKY-TV, and he became good friends with quite a few of the people that were affiliated with the station, in particular Steve Powell. They stayed in contact for many years after Daddy was off the air. And in fact, I dated Steve Powell's younger brother, Jerry Powell, for several years when I was in high school, and in fact went on some double dates with Steve Powell. And lastly, I'd just like to say how happy that I am to be able to be here and talk about my daddy, and to say what a wonderful person, wonderful father, grandfather, husband that he was, and how much all of his family loved him.
There is a legend among shoe tanners that one of the reasons that the rump area of the hide of the horse differs in substance, texture, and density than the rest of the hide is because horses for centuries have always stood with their rears exposed to the elements: snow, sleet, rain, and wind. The makers of Haan shoes use this leather with its distinctive tannage. They hand burnish it to a very deep glow, and they call it burnt ivory. It requires no polish, just an occasional cleaning with saddle soap, and it improves with age. They use this for casual footwear, like this hand-sewn Norwegian slip-on, or this hand-sewn half chucker. And by their rugged outdoor appearance, just one look and you'll know they are Haan from Rothschild's varsity shop, downtown, uptown, Penn Square. The spine-chilling sound of the Diamondback Rattlesnake, one of the most dangerous of the North American snakes. The swift strike, followed by the pain as the fangs sink in. But not this time. The needle-sharp fangs did not penetrate, and the venom was not injected, because these snake boots are made of bull hide, tanned in a special way to do a special job, in this case, for protection. These Haan saddle Oxfords in burgundy with the black saddle, the same shoe in all over black with the black saddle, or this pattern in the long wing tip, are made of genuine shell cordovan, special leather, tanned a special way to do a special job. In this instance, durability, comfort, and smart styling. Just one look and you'll know they are Haan from Rothschild's varsity shop, downtown, uptown, Penn Square. Deep in the swamps of Louisiana, Nature can be beautiful or nature can be brutal, and one of the most savage of its inhabitants is the alligator. He demands respect. He also has the distinction of living inside a skin that, when tanned, is one of the most expensive leathers used in men's shoes. The quality of the alligator leather depends upon the tanning and the size of the scales. All other leather used in shoemaking is priced by the square foot, but alligator leather is priced by the square inch. So, for you young men of all ages, this Cole Haan saddle Oxford and genuine brown alligator with a black shell cordovan saddle, or the same shoe in black alligator with a black shell cordovan saddle, will add status to your stature. And that extra something in detail and style, just one look and you'll know they are Cole Haans. On these rugged, boulder-strewn hills in Scotland, there isn't much cover. The wind blows cold from the North Atlantic, bringing rain and sleet, so the shaggy-haired Highland cattle that roam these hills are a tough breed. From their hides are made Martin's genuine Scotch grain leathers, strong, supple, and hard-wearing. The Scotch grain refers to the pebble-like pattern embossed on the surface, first produced in Glasgow. From this superior quality leather, the skilled shoemakers of Cole Haan produce this Norwegian slip-on with a hand-sewn vamp, either in a burnt orange or in all-over black. And for a more dressy appearance, this colonial classic with the plain toe in antique burnt orange. And on the midtown sidewalk or the college campus, just one look and you'll know they are Cole Haan.
The year was 1953, and the well-dressed man wore a gray flannel suit with long lapels and patch pockets. That year, the popular footwear was the tassel tie slip-on. Today, the flannel suit is a memory, but not the tassel tie shoe. Well-dressed men are again wearing this Cole Haan tassel in all-over black calf, in burgundy genuine shell cordovan, in burgundy smooth veal with a hand-sewn vamp, or the aristocrat of all, in brown genuine alligator. The distinctive styling and the skilled shoemaking of these shoes is so evident that today, as in 1953, just one look and you'll know they are Cole Haans. If you were one of the Indians who greeted Columbus, you were wearing a pair of deerskin moccasins with the vamp sewn to the lower part like this. Or if you were an Eskimo who ate whale blubber with Admiral Perry, you wore a pair of mucklucks with the vamp hand sewn to the lower part like this. Or maybe you were a member of the crew of Norsemen who visited our eastern shore and wore this type of shoe with the vamp hand sewn to the lower. The similarity of methods man has used through the ages for shoemaking is astounding. The descendants of the Norsemen added the wide band across the foot, and for decades this type of shoe has been known as the Norwegian. Because of its popularity, Cole Haan makes it in all black, chestnut brown, burnt ivory, Spanish brass, and burnt orange Scotch grain. And believe me, one look and you'll know they are Cole Haans.
At the time of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, patriots like Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and Benjamin Franklin were wearing footwear that looked like this. The shoes were rather crude, poorly shaped, and often had large silver buckles. Today, the Cole Haan shoemakers have designed a shoe that is so similar in appearance to those of the Patriots that they have named it the Ben Franklin. It is available in all-over genuine cherry shell cordovan or in burnt orange Scotch grain. The classic simplicity of this shoe gives it such versatility that it can be worn correctly with a business suit, sport coat and trousers, or sweater and slacks. And because of that extra something in detail and style, just one look and you'll know they are Cole Haans. When the thickness of cattle hide or steer hide is greater than that desired for the upper stalk of shoes, the leather is split by a razor-sharp band knife. The upper thickness is called the grain split, the next the first split, and the one below the second split. The makers of Cole Haan shoes use the top quality grain split, buff the split side for the nappy finish, dye it this distinctive color, treat it to repel rain and stain, and call it burnt buck. They use it for this Oxford with the burnt ivory saddle, this monk strap and buckle with the plain toe, and this 3-eye chucka boot. The leather is easily cleaned with sandpaper, will tolerate rough wear, and by their distinctive red cushion crepe soles, just one look and you'll know they are Cole Haan's. Many factors determine the texture and quality of leather, especially of calf skins and cattle hides. Calves born in cold or dairy states where they are well fed and well groomed have a firmer, more closely textured skin than calves born on the open range where food and water may not be too plentiful, where the sun beats down on the young animals and often grubs and insects infest their skin. This leather is imported from Germany, tanned by Freudenberg. The skins are from milk-fed animals that produce this sumptuous leather. The makers of Cole Haan shoes use this quality leather in British tan for this hand-butted, plain-toe dressy Oxford, for this popular one-buckle monk strap, and the same pattern in all over black. And because of this top-quality leather and skill in shoemaking, just one look and you'll know they are Cole Haan's.
And then I'd like to end with the tagline that he used for all of his commercials that were in regard to Edwards shoes. And it went like this. I'm sure a lot of you will remember it. Who am I? Mr. Stoneman. Where's the place? Rothschild's. And the name of the shoes? Edwards.